recording, right? Okay. Hello, my name is Alexei and you're watching That Tape Reviews. In this video, I want to discuss the origins of That Tape Reviews, also tell you what that tape is, and give a hint about the future of the series. So you may be wondering what that tape means, and I will tell you. It's this. So this is obviously a cassette tape, which if you're from a younger generation, you may not remember even, but we used these quite a bit in the 1980s and 1990s. So that tape, why is it that tape? Why is it some other tape, not that tape, like this tape or the other tape, right? I have quite a few of them here. Well, this tape is especially nostalgic for me because it actually all began from this very tape. So in the 1990s in Estonia, we had basically cassette tapes sold in stores which were essentially compilations of pirated games for the ZX Spectrum. And this one here is an example of such a tape. So on this panel here you can see a kind of really poor quality printout from Operation Wolf's loading screen, and you have this general layout, you have the company names and such printed on here, and this is what essentially was related to a collection of games. So this was Spectrum G13, G standing probably for game, so game compilation 13, and it looked like something like this. And the list of games is obviously here, so you can see that we had on side A, Nightmare Rally, Cybernoid 1 and 2, Pulse Warrior, Silent Service, Booty, Sweewa's World, and so on. On side B, different games like R-Type, for example, which, as you probably know, is a fantastic game, R-Type. So, this was essentially the story of piracy, which somehow was completely officially possible. It might seem strange now, but that's essentially what we had in the beginning of 1990s. And now this is where that tape comes in. Now, because the games were actually pirated, that means all of the protection has been removed from them. And that also meant that we could copy them using tape decks. And there was also a bunch of specialized programs that were tailored to that particular purpose. And those programs were called copy programs. And this is something that I will be speaking about in a forthcoming episode as well. So on this tape, obviously, we had, I will not reveal the list of the games yet, but on this tape we did have quite a few games, and some of them were quite excellent. Some of them were poor quality games, and there are also a couple of programs spliced in between the games. All of those things I will review, and then we will see what they are, and so on. So there are some interesting stuff in here, let me tell you. But that's the story of that tape. And now also a few words about why I want to make the series. The motivation is very simple. I would like to dedicate this series to my late father, Alexander, who has brought home a box with keys, which would be later revealed as a clone of the 48K ZX Spectrum, which I will show you as well. And he was also the one who created that tape. So with that said, I would simply like to honor his legacy and provide these series also to anyone who would like to have a nostalgia trip back into the 1990s and 1980s. Let me also show you the computer. So here you have the Sinclair ZX Spectrum 48K clone, which is called Estelle Vicker. Now the name Vicker appears over here, which means kind of rainbow. And the idea is that the company who was manufacturing these was called Estelle. They're not around anymore. But they did make computers like this, and they also sold them. So apart from tape piracy, there were also massive amounts of illegal copies of these computers produced. So what is this model? So as I mentioned already, this is a 48K computer. So this computer has been refurbished. I spent almost 3 months doing this in the beginning of 2025. So I will actually show this as a separate series, or at least as a separate playlist, the videos, because I think it might be interesting. So all has been done, starting from hardware inspection and replacing components that were faulty, though to be fair, there were not many of those. Then also a lot of time went into creating a proper TV output here with a composite mod, which is far, far more difficult to do than on the original 48K machine. Again, I will speak about that in an upcoming episode. Also audio output, joystick port. Then I also had to replace this guy, which is a DIN standard connector with 64 pins. And I also made an interesting expansion card with another joystick port. More about that in a later episode. So apart from just refurbishing this machine, replacing some ports here and there, adding some functionality and so on, it's also completely fixed and in a completely working condition. I also took the time and recreated the font used for these keycaps here, for the labels on the keycaps. So all of these things here, you can see that there's some whitening on the original labels, whereas the new ones are bright and white. So all of this stuff has been done, which was quite a bit of work. But overall, this is pretty much the state of the machine, in which Dad brought it home circa 1992 or 93. And yeah, so it has been refurbished. It's in a fully working order, and I will be using it for the reviews of the game on that tape. So just to show the back of the computer as well, looks something like this. And don't worry, again, I did one thing that I didn't do though, so you can attack me in the comments there, that I didn't replace these guys here. Okay, maybe I shouldn't show it. So anyway, this is the refurbished machine, and let's put them side by side. This is the machine, and this is that tape. And by the way, it's a theme, common theme with my dad, that he liked creating like custom labels for the tapes, and this was the computer era for him, I guess. So all the other tapes from that era also contain some computers or some stuff like this. But that tape is here. Thank you very much for tuning in. I hope that this brief introduction into the series was useful for you to decide whether you want to stick around or go somewhere else. But for a bit of computing history, I think this channel might actually be interesting for a lot of people, and especially those who might have some nostalgic feelings for these old machines, and also those who want to learn about what happened in a post-Soviet country in the beginning of 1990s and how all those things actually worked here. So, with that said, thank you very much for watching this episode, this pilot episode of the series. Once again, my name is Alexei, and this has been That Tape Reviews episode 0. Take care. See you soon. Bye.